Hey everybody, Chris here from Finland Mennonite Church, back with another session of Midweek Musings. This time where we just slow down and reflect on one truth from this previous week's sermon. But before we get to that, does anybody know what's so special about today? Right? Wednesday, March 10th. Anything special about today? Let me give you a little hint here. Give it to you one more time. Listen to these sound effects. That help you out? No? Well, let me just tell you. It's Mario Day, right? Happy Mario Day, everybody. Why Mario Day, you ask? Well, if you see below, you see it says Mario. That's M-A-R, right, for March. And then I-O, but that's really a 10 there. But when you look at it, it looks like Mario. So March 10th is a great day to celebrate Mario. Now, what does this have to do with our truth, and how does this fit into the midweek musings? Well, surprisingly well, actually. As we think about the truth from this last week's sermon, Pastor Jerry said multiple times that what we can learn out of these verses of Habakkuk is that God is working a work, right? Be ready to be astounded, even dumbfounded, because God is working a work. And that took me to the Apostle Paul, where he says in Colossians, he says these words to them. He says, "For this I toil, struggling with all his energy that he powerfully works within me." See, this work that God is working is in you, through you, and around you, right? It's all of those things. It's enabling you to do what Habakkuk ends with by saying, treading on the high places. See, we can't do it on our own strength. We need God's strength working through us to tread on these high places. And see, that's what got me thinking of our friend Mario. So if you think about Mario, his whole point of existence in this video game series is to rescue the princess, right? From Bowser, this big, bad, evil villain, right? Way bigger, way stronger, way more powerful, way mightier than Mario by himself. But Mario doesn't only have to rely on his own strength, right? He has some other strengths that he can rely on as he goes through and tries to overcome Bowser and save Princess Peach. Right? He's got stars that if he gets a star, he gets star power. If he comes across a mushroom, right? That's this sound effect. And he grows and he gets bigger and he can get a flower and get firepower. He can get, depending on which Mario you're talking about, he can get the ability to fly with a raccoon tail. He can have a propeller. He can get a little shoe that he hops around in that keeps him from being taken out by other people. He can get ice power, right? He has all these powers that enable him to overcome the injustices around him, that allow him to cultivate heavenly possibilities and trample down and come against these unheavenly realities. Do you see the connection now? Right? As we think about Mario, if he were to rely on his own strength, if you ever played the game and you tried to do everything without ever getting bigger or any of these powers and you just stayed little Mario the whole time, the game would be almost impossible to win, much more challenging anyway. But if you start using these powers, right, you can start to overcome, you can start to rise above, you can start to defeat all the bad guys that stand in your way of rescuing Princess Peach, right? You can do a work, you can work a work with the power that you have. And in the same way, those who trust Jesus, right? We can try to trust our own strength, but our strength is corrupt. We'll begin to use our might for all kinds of wrong reasons, in wrong ways, and actually make more injustice. But if we rely on the all-powerful one, the one who is so strong, right, not even the grave could hold him, well, then we can start treading on these high places. We can start treading on these high places that we see even in us. So as you go out this week, as you finish this week, as we look to confront these unheavenly realities in us and around us, we can do it on our own strength, but it's not going to end well. We can, however, do it with the strength that God gives us. This strength that Paul says he powerfully works within us. And then we'll find ourselves not just treading these the God of might and these unheavenly realities within us. Friends, we'll be doing it around us as well. I want to leave you with these words from St. Patrick. This is part of the prayer that is known as I arise today. I want to leave you with these words and send you on your way. He says, through a mighty strength, the invocation of the Trinity, through belief in the threeness, through confession of the oneness of the Creator of creation, I arise today. Through the strength of Christ's birth with his baptism, through the strength of his crucifixion with his burial, through the strength of his resurrection with his ascension, through the strength of his descent for the judgment of doom, I arise today. I arise today through God's strength to pilot me, God's might to uphold me, God's wisdom to guide me, God's eye to look before me, God's ear to hear me, God's word to speak for me, God's hand to guard me, God's shield to protect me, God's host to save me from snares of devils, from temptation of vices, from everyone who shall wish me ill, afar and near. Christ with me, Christ before me, Christ behind me, Christ in me, Christ beneath me, Christ above me, Christ on my right, Christ on my left, Christ when I lie down, Christ when I sit, Christ when I arise, Christ in the heart of every man who thinks of me, Christ in the mouth of everyone who speaks of me, Christ in every ear that sees me, Christ in every ear that hears me. I arise today through a mighty strength, the invocation of the Trinity, through belief in the threeness, through confession of the oneness of the Creator of creation. As you finish this week, go in the strength that God gives you, and may you find yourself treading on all these high places as well. Go in peace.